Mike, we back today. We're gonna take a look at DN from Georgia, Leonard Floyd. Jordan Jenkins. Azeez Ojulari. How you doing?
You had me scared there for a second. I thought we were back in 2016, 2017, but no, we got our man Azeez Ojulari here. I'm doing good. Hope you are as well. And I say we hop right in, Mike. So, getting into his sort of production and background, obviously, the first thing that kind of jumps off to me at least is you have a guy who improved every year in terms of the statistical production. What importance do you put on that at least first and foremost, Mike?
A lot. I think a lot, especially from DN slash outside linebacker, whatever you want to call it. Just as a pure pass rusher, um, I think it means a lot. You saw, especially we talk about a lot for this position. It seems like it's lacked quite a bit with a lot of the prospects we've looked at currently. Just pure technique, like getting better at your craft, like not just relying on your athleticism purely, but learning to hone in your pass rushing skills. And I think just watching film and then looking at the stats, you can see that he started to do that, which kind of puts him, a little bit ahead of some of those other pass rushers that we've already reviewed and are probably going to review. So I think it speaks a lot, and it's really nice seeing that, progressions through the 3 seasons.
No, and especially with guys who, we've done to this point that have opted out and chosen not to play that last season and just forego. I think that you see the value of staying here with Azeez because he's obviously been more of a late riser here in this late draft season as people have kind of re-evaluated the film. You realize, hey, this isn't just that 5.5 sack guy from 2019. He's actually a pretty freaking good player. So in terms of my grade, we'll just hop right in to him. I think that Azeez was actually incredibly balanced all around. I kind of went into this expecting him to be that sort of pure pass rusher that can't do anything else, but he did really surprise me in terms of his ability to stop the run and really just read blocks. So, there were plays where, say, a tackle's trying to reach him and the play's trying to go outside. Well, Azeez is able to recognize that, get outside and long arm that tackle off. Or then, when the tackle's trying to just drive block him, Azeez shoots both hands into his chest and is able to sort of cause a stalemate at the line of scrimmage. And it was just really, really solid considering he's 6'3", 240. You don't necessarily always see that out of guys with his size. In terms of his pass rushing ability, I thought that his explosiveness upfield obviously jumped off the tape. He did run a 4.63 40 at his pro day, so obviously he's an athletic guy. I thought his flexibility and bend, I should say. I know Mike was a little bit higher on him here, but I thought he kind of looked a little bit stiff. But he can still do it. Obviously, he can still do it. And then in terms of hand usage, I should say to this point, one of the better guys that we've seen. He does a great job of always fighting to get off of blocks. And, whether it's clubbing, ripping, swiping, he's never content being blocked. And that's something that I really like personally. And that's why I do have him to this point as our highest edge rusher here at an 80.75. So, Mike, do you sort of agree with my grade in terms of what you've seen off film, or are there any points of contention?
I think him and Quiddy Pay are, I think they deserve similar grades, but very different players. As a pure pass rusher, I think Azeez is by far the best on film, at least at honing in his craft. Kind of the flexibility or bend, I wouldn't say was great by no means, but I think comparative to the other DNs and just outside linebackers that we've taken a look at, I think by far he showed the best ability. I know you disagree a little bit there, but it didn't show consistently. It wasn't anything impressive. We've seen better in the past. A prospect we liked a lot was Derek Barnett. That man, just all he did was bend, baby. So comparative to that, absolutely not. But compared to some of the other prospects we've looked at this year, I thought it was a little bit better. And then I'd agree with most of your grades. Hand usage, I think, was super impressive. And the one I guess I would disagree with, and it's not a huge grade, but kind of what I was getting at in the beginning of the video with the Leonard Floyd Jordan Jenkins comparison is his size. I think is interesting. I think the whole Georgia DN pass rusher, it's crazy that they seem to be all tall, lengthy, um, and not scrawny, but definitely lacking a little bit in size just in general. Which, if your team running a traditional 4-3, I question if he could do it at a consistent basis, put his hand in the dirt, edge rusher. And it's maybe I'm wrong because he did show, great contain at Georgia, which is kind of where your concern would be in the run, maybe just getting eaten up a little bit. But um, just on pure size, I think he is a better fit as a 3-4 outside linebacker.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I think he does have a little bit of play with his hand in the dirt, but primarily will be better at the next level as a stand-up guy, particularly when these tackles do get so much bigger and stronger. Obviously, when I say he's able to stop the run, we have to remember that's against these college guys. Now you're going to be going up against the big boys now. So I think that's a really good point there. I know you kind of already jumped the gun and got into the comparison between him versus Quiddy. But no, as you guys can see here, in terms of how my grades compare for everybody at this point, I have him just narrowly above Quiddy Pay. I have Quiddy as an 80.25, Azeez as an 80.75. So I do think I would go with Azeez personally. I do think he's just a little bit better of a pass rusher, and not the gap between him and Quiddy as a pass rusher, I should say, is larger than the gap between Quiddy and him as a run defender, I guess is how I would put it. No, otherwise, I do think that he is pretty noticeably more polished and better than Jalen Phillips or Gregory Rousseau. You agree with that, Mike?
Yes,
Yeah.
for sure.
And then, yeah, I would say that it's pretty safe to say, at least for me, going forward, we still have some more guys, obviously, whether it's Carlos Basham, Rashad Weaver, Jason Owe. I think Azeez is going to finish as my number one pass rusher. With that being said, though, I think that people have to realize that doesn't mean you should be taking him in the top 5 necessarily. There doesn't have to be an elite pass rusher in every draft. I don't think that he's necessarily the next Von Miller or Khalil Mack. I think that he could just be a really solid guy. And that's why you see that I have him graded as raw grade 80.75. You add in the position premium, he'd finish right around an 85-ish. I'd feel good about him being taken in that like 11 to 15 range. Do you agree with that, Mike, or are you maybe a little bit higher or lower on him?
A little bit lower just in general. But if a team really, especially in free agency, it didn't seem like there was actually quite a bit of pass rushers, but um, this draft is definitely lacking in just pure, and not, I wouldn't say front seven, because linebackers, off ball linebackers, especially really heavy. Front four, not so much. So I think that adds, to that value that he brings. And I can see that 11-15 spot, but I probably just in general grade would have him a little bit lower than that, probably early 20s. But again, this draft just seems to be a little bit weaker than most in front four. Um, so I think 11-15 is fine.
Yeah, no, and I think that the problem is though is that a lot of people, they're kind of conditioned with the years we've had of say Jadeveon, Miles, Bradley Chubb. They're conditioned to think that there has to be this generational guy in every draft, and I don't think you're finding that here. I think people are trying to kind of fit a square peg into a round hole in that regard. I think you just have to follow the board as it goes. And even though Azeez is my number one pass rusher, that doesn't mean I would necessarily want him in the top 5. Although I would say, as I said, in that mid-teens area, I would feel super comfortable. So, Mike, do you have anything else, or are we good to go?
I think it's all I have to say. But if you guys have something to say, leave a like, comment, subscribe. We like hearing what you guys have to say. I hope you guys enjoying the videos. If you agree with us, or if for some reason if you think Quiddy pays a little bit better, let us know. We'll definitely have a conversation. We enjoyed doing this, so hopefully you guys enjoy the videos if you guys make it this far.
Absolutely. And if you did enjoy the video, make sure you subscribe and be on the lookout for Carlos Basham. I'll give a little spoiler alert who will be coming later today. So with that being said, I think we're mic'd up and we're micing out.
Doses.
Peace, guys.